cross down live
Yes.
to our local Ipswich historian.
Right.
And his name is Harold the H. Peacock. Mm-hmm. And he's going to talk about some Ipswich World War II heroes. And you don't know, they come in all forms.
They do.
And it could be a dog, could be a parrot.
Right.
Could be a...
sheep.
Or what about the...
Oh, the peacock. It could be that too.
Let's talk. Can you imagine a peacock going into war with,
See them coming if they got their feathers out.
Yeah, okay, let's talk. Peacock going into war. Well, he could have went to war. He's a peacock.
Yeah.
Harold, are you there?
Yes, I am, Danny. I would never claim to be any sort of a hero at all.
And happy birthday, mate. Will you, to your children, you're a hero because you're a good man, and we've only known you about 10 years, and I've found you to be an absolute gentleman of the highest order. There you are.
Oh, you're too kind, Danny. Thank you so much.
Now, tell us about these World War II heroes that come in all forms. It could be a peacock.
Yeah, well, it could be, but, Anzac days away, so I thought I'd share this story with you.
Yeah.
It's from Ipswich during the Second World War, and initially, it's about a hero you just wouldn't expect.
No.
But I've been thinking about it more, and in fact, it's a remarkable wartime love story.
Oh.
And in March 1943, an Australian soldier walked into the Brisbane CIB and said, "I want to report that I've been married twice, and I want to have the matter cleared up while I'm on leave."
Right.
Now, the soldier's name was Private Harold Robert Collins, or Bobby to his mates. In August 1940, at St Andrew's Church at Lutwyche, Private Collins had married Gladys Clark, who was a young woman described by one newspaper as an attractive, plump, brown-eyed brunette. Then just 9 weeks later, at St Stephen's Presbyterian Church here in Ipswich, Collins married Sylvia Skellern from Ross Street in Edvale. Now, Collins was charged with bigamy at the Ipswich court and was found guilty. 8 weeks later, he and his legal wife Gladys were divorced, of course. But the tragedy that had befallen poor Gladys didn't end there. To support the war effort, she'd been working in the case section of the munitions factory at Rockley. Just 6 months after her absolutely humiliating public divorce, she was involved in a fatal accident when a US Army truck collided with an Australian Air Force bus that was transporting her and the other factory workers. And unfortunately, 3 people were killed. Gladys survived, but right next to her, her best friend Doreen, she was killed. Anyway, meanwhile, Gladys's ex-husband Collins had been discharged from the army as being medically unfit.
Right.
He married his bigamous wife Sylvia, and together they lived out the rest of the war in wedded bliss. But there's more to this story, Danny. You see, back in 1940, Private Collins had enlisted in Special Force, and he knew he was about to be shipped off to war, so he married Gladys Clark. But just 1 week before his ship departed, he discovered that Sylvia Skellern was in a certain condition and that he was responsible.
Wow.
So he honourably married her as well. Collins arranged for his army pay to go to both his legal wife Gladys and his impending child. And after serving 2 years in Libya, Collins returned to Australia, and that's when he marched into the Brisbane CIB and confessed. Now, this work is interesting because at his trial, Collins represented himself and pleaded guilty. And during cross-examination of the witnesses, he took the strangely romantic step of actually asking his bigamous wife to marry him.
Wow.
Now, Sylvia didn't hesitate and said yes, in what must be one of the most unusual romantic courtroom dramas in Ipswich history. Now, at his sentencing, the Chief Justice, Sir William Webb, complained that there was too much bigamy going on. In fact, this was his 7th case in 8 weeks.
Wow.
Now, the Chief Justice sentenced Collins to 9 months hard labour. But despite his distaste for bigamy, this sentence was fully suspended with a 12-month, £50 good behaviour bond.
Wow.
So Collins was free to walk out of court, back to the army, but he got discharged anyway. Now, Collins and Silver did legally marry shortly after the trial and went on to have 4 children together. And in the post-war building boom, he worked as a railway bridge carpenter. But then, Danny, something happened to end this incredible love story.
What?
In 1950, while Collins was working on a bridge outside of Mackay, a girder suddenly rolled down and crushed his head, killing him instantly. And so the father of 4 and once a husband of 2 was dead. And one of the most unusual and unknown love stories of the war was finished.
Holy.
So you just don't know what stories there are and what families come out of. And like I won't say what happened to the family after that, but they lived happily ever after, because some of them might still be alive now. But so I mean, that's an incredible courtroom story.
Incredible.
But like when asking your wife to marry you while you're cross-examining her in court. What a love story that is, Danny. Imagine you doing that.
There's a flame.
Maybe you should.
There's a movie in this with, Eddie Maguire and Carl Stefanovic, David Koch, isn't there?
Oh, they'd all be fantastic, because they can handle the truth and they could get a yes from their wife on the stand for sure.
Mate, another brilliant story. He's a great storyteller. He is an international storyteller, but he does it for Ipswich, the little town that was made famous by a man we won't mention. All right, tell us how we do this, how we can see this story.
Yes, go to historyouthere.com. That's online. I upload stories every Sunday morning. Historyouthere.com.
In fact,
and I'm exclusive to you, Danny.
You are.
I don't talk to any other radio station.
And even Paul listens to the program, and I'd love to get him on, but we're not allowed. Anyhow, it's now 24 minutes past 8, and that was exclusive to this program, Harold the H. Peacock on West Bremer Radio.